The variety and designs that we're able to get from independents or micro brands is actually quite refreshing. And what I've got in my hand here, I'm pretty impressed for the price it's offered at, because the watch design is actually a regulator and coming in at around 835 Australian dollars or just over 500 USD. I think there's a lot of design and thought gone into this watch. Now, I've spent a week on the wrist with this watch and I want to tell you what my findings have been. It's been a learning curve in a couple of areas, but overall a very nice, refreshing look. So without further ado, let's flip the camera and let's dive in. Now, when independents or micro brands bring us a newly designed watch and a relatively affordable watch, it gets me excited because it's not your standard run-of-the-mill stuff. We're all used to seeing the same old watches being churned out, and this is slightly different. This is fresh and I like this. It's a regulated design, and if you look at that dial, you've got a 24-hour scale sub-dial. At the 8 o'clock, the minute is read by the long, elegant central hand, and there's a running seconds hand at the smaller sub-dial at 4. Now, after spending a week on the wrist with this watch, I've tried it out with different types of straps, from bracelet to mesh to a leather strap as well. So I will show you guys what it looks like on these different variants. It's been a good experience. There are probably a couple of little areas which I think I found that could offer some room for improvement, but overall it's been a very, very decent wear. Now, you saw the pop-up. MD Studios has sponsored this video, so I will of course leave the links in the description section. If this watch interests you, by all means feel free to check them out. And looking at their website, you can see that there's different variants. Same design but beautiful dial colors, and for me this particular orange one, which is very subtle, it's like a salmon color, it really caught my attention. I think it's tastefully done. The tonality between that almost ivory subdials against that salmon backdrop is really nice. And matching it up with a blued handset also seems to visually work. Now, diving straight into the specs of the watch, I measure a case diameter 40mm and a case height of 11.8. The lug to lug is 46mm and a lug width of 20. I measure a crown of 5.9mm, it's signed, it's a push-pull crown, and the watch offers 50 meters of water resistance. And the total weight on the supplied bracelet sized to my 18cm wrist, I measure exactly 118 grams. Now, as I mentioned before, on the wrist, the watch is a very comfortable experience. It sits well with a footprint of 40mm and 46mm lug to lug. It's worn extremely comfortable. Even that case height of 11.8 has been quite easy to get along with throughout the week. Now, one thing I must mention, the actual bracelet, it actually extends the effective lug to lug to about 52mm roughly, but it does fall straight down. So that's something to be aware of if you do have a smaller wrist. Now, as I mentioned, there are other options for this watch, and I tried it out on the leather strap, and I think appropriately the look and comfort is also very good. There's decent bolstering on that strap. It seems to be finished very well, again with quick release spring bars and a nice comfortable overall feel. And lastly, I also tried it out with a Milanese mesh style bracelet, and again, it works, the comfort is there. I suppose it all comes down to personal choice. Now, if I turn the watch over, you'll notice there's an exhibition case back. It's got a sapphire crystal, and behind that case back is the Miyota 8S27. It's a proper hand winding hacking movement. It offers around 42 hours of power reserve, and it's running at 21,600 vibrations per hour. Now, the Miyota 8S27 movement already offers 2 subdials in its layout. The 24-hour is normally at the 9 o'clock and the small seconds is normally at the 5 o'clock. However, with this particular watch, what they've done, they've basically rotated that movement to get that angle and put the crown up at the 2 o'clock. So I actually like that. I don't mind that because now the crown is out of the way. It's not obtrusive in any form of manner, and it brings a nice different look to this watch, which is something that I think we all look for in independents and micro brands. So in that regard, I think they've done well. Now, turning my attention back to that crystal, it's a sapphire crystal, it's a slightly double dome crystal, and when I say slightly, it's ever so slight, and I think the anti-reflective coating treatment on this crystal has also been executed nicely. Now, after spending a week on the wrist with this watch, what are the things that for me could offer room for improvement or some change? And first and foremost, the watch offers 50 meters of water resistance. So I think, look, it's good enough for this genre of watch. It's good enough. It would have been nice to have 100. I think in our modern lifestyles, it would have been nice to offer 100 meters just in case of water activities and so forth. But again, this particular genre of more dressy style of watch, I don't have an issue with 50 meters, but mentioning it for you guys nonetheless. Secondly, for me, the quick release spring bars were noticeable on my wrist underneath this watch. They do extend a little bit too far, and I did feel them on the top of my wrist. So that's something that I did notice throughout the week. It's an easy fix. You remove them, you put a standard spring bar, but again, I think design, they could have done this a little bit better. Spring bars that do curve up, there are options out there, but nonetheless, on the bracelet, do expect those spring bars to potentially touch the top of your wrist. Now, whilst I'm on that bracelet, normally with watches, I'd say it'd be nice to have an on-the-fly adjustable clasp. This one doesn't. It offers a butterfly clasp. Again, I'm going to put it to the genre of this watch, being more of a dressy style. It's been comfortable. There is no micro adjustment, so you will have to wear this watch a little bit looser. It just works. Maybe I'm pulling at straws here, I don't know, but that's one area where I do hear in the comments, guys, keep on saying, oh, no on-the-fly adjustment clasp. I get it. This seems to work. As a butterfly clasp for this genre of watch, it does work. And last thing I want to touch on this watch, I think the dial layout is good. I like what they've done. They've balanced it out, put the crown at the 2 o'clock. It's nice, it's different. Potentially that subdial, it's a 24-hour subdial, and it does get a little bit of getting used to. The legibility, you might suffer indoors because looking indoors in subdued light, trying to get a gauge of where the handset is on a 24-hour dial, especially at that size, is a little bit more tricky than reading a 12-hour dial. So maybe if this was a 12-hour subdial at the 8 o'clock, it would have been an easier read, more familiarity and so forth, but nothing that you're not going to be able to overcome by wearing a watch like this for a month or two. You'll get used to it. You'll understand exactly what you're reading. And if this was a 12-hour subdial, then that Miyota would have required some form of modification, just the gearing to change it up so that you get 12 hours instead of 24. Saying all that, taking the watch outdoors, I've not had an issue reading the time, reading the watch, it's been easy. But as it stands, I really like this watch. I really like the overall look and feel of this particular one. I think MD Studios has done really well to bring something fresh and relatively affordable to the table, all things considered. A very tasteful choice in design, layout, and even colorways from what I can see on their website. So hit me up in the comments, guys. Let me know what you think of this particular watch and this design. Feel free to check this brand out. A watch with an applied logo, a really nice layout, a good footprint, solid, sturdy, and a decent amount of finesse for the money outlaid. You really can't go wrong. A nice fresh offering and something that potentially stands out in a crowd and a potential conversation starter. So thanks for watching. Continue to enjoy the hobby and one another, and we'll see you in the next one.